Over the past 10 years, human trafficking has grown exponentially. It's in our country,
our cities,
our homes.
Today, millions of children are trapped in modern-day slavery. Can it end? We've done it before.
History has shown that when enough dedicated people rally together, change is inevitable. All it can take is 10 minutes,
10 letters,
$10.
10 people telling others about the horrors of this industry. Human trafficking is the human rights issue of our time.
But it doesn't have to be.
Let's end it. Welcome to Zoe International's Hope in Action Giving Tuesday live stream. I'm your host, Hillary Phillips, and we're so glad you're here. If you're joining us for the first time, Zoe exists to reach every person with God's love and rescue every child from human trafficking. Our teams in Thailand, Mexico, Japan, Australia, and here in the US, both in LA County and Pennsylvania, work daily to prevent trafficking, rescue children, and restore survivors through the hope of the gospel. Since today is Giving Tuesday, we also want to share some exciting news. We've officially launched our year-end match giving campaign. Every gift given from now through December 31st will be doubled up to $250,000. That kind of generosity fuels the work happening around the world and makes a lasting difference in the lives of vulnerable children. And today, we want to share examples of that impact. You'll hear from two incredible Zoe supporters, why they give, what first stirred their hearts, and the kind of difference they hope to help create. Thank you for believing in freedom and for partnering with us. Now, to begin, we're excited to introduce our first guest. They've been a faithful supporter of Zoe, and their story is a beautiful reminder of how one person's yes can create lasting impact. Let's jump into the conversation now. All right, and here we have Pastor Timmy Ritz. He's going to be speaking with us today and sharing a bit of his heart, him and his wife, and how they have contributed to Zoe. It's so great to have you, Pastor Timmy.
Oh, thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, thank you
for
so
having me.
much. Thanks for joining in. And, today we're just going to have a little chat, and I would love to hear just your perspective on some things. And I was
Yeah.
wondering if you could start by sharing just a bit about yourself and what really drives the heartbeat of Life 150 Church.
When we began the church, there were about three different areas that the Lord had called us to carry a conviction for, and fighting for people's freedom was one of them. Of course, Zoe surrounds their mission behind the gospel, so that's of course drawn us as more, and we have direct relationships with the founders, and um, so we began supporting them from the top. But uh, Life 150 Church is built around helping those who are in great need, such as New Friends Homeless Center, one of the programs we support, and those who are trafficked. And um, there's areas in the foster care that we also provide for. So those are the things that I think we've carried a strong conviction for the past decade. And so Zoe's been one of our main people we wanted to support. And so that's what we do. And we have a church in Life named Life 150 Church in Burbank, California. My wife and I are the pastors of it. And we're also from the dance industry. So we have several artists that has been with us. And we've ran a dance ministry for 22 years as well.
Mm.
So those are a few of the things that we've done since we've been in ministry.
I love that. And, you share so much about your heart to give and look after people who are in need. And you also mentioned that you and your wife run a dance ministry.
Yeah.
And I'd love to learn more about that. And then even that your wife went to Thailand with that dance ministry, right?
Yeah. We
Oh,
had a dance ministry. We actually closed the dance ministry this summer. So after 22 years, we did
mm,
our last dance festival. And Word Emotion has been a part of several outreaches, and one of them has been to go to the nations, such as Thailand. And my wife had led the team on two different trips, two different occasions. And I think it was wonderful because Zoe will put us to work. So she took the dance team. Um, or the directors that facilitated the trip took the dance team to many different areas, as well as ministering to the kids, but to schools, to the slums, to different organizations where they were able to do outreach because of dance. Dance brings a big draw. People's eyes are locked in, especially when the Lord's presence is among them. And so that was a vehicle to utilize to bring the gospel and to bring, hope and bring the conversation open to the subject of human trafficking, because then the Zoe workers came and educated the people uh, among those outreaches. So the dance ministry was played as a nice role to really get Zoe's mission moving, and so that was a fun trip for my wife and the team.
Oh, that's great. I love that you all were able to experience that and
Yeah.
connect with Zoe in that way. How exactly did you all, you may have already mentioned, but like, how did you all get connected with us to get to the point of bringing the ministry in and getting involved in that way?
Well, Mike and Carol were our pastors, or they were associate pastors of a church that we were a part of. And so they oversaw us, and we were part of the leadership of that church. And we just built a strong relationship, you know,
Mm.
um, just loved each other's hearts. And when they were called to the mission field, Ari and I knew this is before we were in pastors. We were just running a dance ministry and sort of like at the beginning stages of our walk too.
Mm.
But we just knew that was something we wanted to be a part of. And when they went fully public and they were announcing that we're looking for support, we knew that this is something we wanted to do monthly. So even before we became pastors, that was something that we were a part of, as far as yoking up with them and wanting to support their care for the orphan, those who have been pulled out of trafficking. And so that was the beginning of a great relationship that we have still to this day. Yeah.
I love that. That's so great to hear just how God can bring people into our lives. And before you know it, we are using our talents and giftings in such a unique way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's awesome that y'all were able to just do something like that. And I'm curious, just throughout your time with Zoe, your relationship, either from trips to Thailand or things that you've done within your church as relates to Zoe, can you think of any specific moments that really deeply impacted you in a personal and lasting way?
Well, I'll share some things we've done to help Zoe while we're here in the States, and just to bring more awareness, to bring more financial support, to bring more donors, to bring just to kind of be a voice for it. We did a show called Step of Hope every year, and we did about 10 of them. Step of Hope was a dance concert, and it was a benefit dance concert. And so we had dancers from all around the world, because during our dance festival, we had people fly in and they would stay to dance in the festival. And so all the dancers we knew, when my wife and I were dancing professionally, we'd call on a lot of the choreographers from the industry. And so we'd put on a big show, like an hour long, with like wonderful, amazing, anointed, professional work. And in between the show, at the halfway mark, I would share about Zoe. I would share about their heart. I would play videos, and so we had hundreds of people's attention towards that. So Step of Hope has been a big part of that. And Carol, when she was in town, she came and she spoke as well. I did like an interview with her on stage, because she doesn't, she's yeah, she likes to run from the mic sometimes, even though she's such an anointed speaker.
Yes.
So I said, I'll be on stage with you. We'll be side to side. I'll do the interview. I'll conduct the interview and ask you the questions, and she's always wonderful when she speaks, because she's so deeply passionate. So that was a fun season for us. It's something that we might even bring back up again, because
Mhm.
we don't want to close the door of doing Step of Hope. And then we had other dance ministries do Step of Hope in their and donate money to Zoe. So in different locations and different states, people have done Step of Hope and use that money to bring and use that platform to bring awareness, and that money to, of course, support Zoe. So there's many things we can do with our gifts. So
Mhm.
if anyone's watching and they're thinking, well, maybe I can do something else, it might not be an artistic expression like dance, but it could be something that gathers people, and you can facilitate a moment where that gathering allows you to vocalize your heart and passion for what's taking place. And it's kind of like unseen, um, on news media. You don't hear about the devastation of human trafficking. But yeah, Step of Hope was a wonderful uh, vehicle, and something that's really been special that we were able to do for nearly like 15 years, off and on.
Wow, that is such an impressive way of just being intentional and using what you naturally are doing and your talents and giftings, but also connecting it to a cause. And we feel honored that you choose to do that for us and chose to do that for us. And I think,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, and I love your point too of inspiring people that whatever they are naturally able to do or feel gifted in doing, that can even be a way to bring people together where
Yeah.
it's not just about raising funds, but it's really about community and connecting. And then on top of that, the cherry on top is that you can be doing those things for
Yeah.
a big purpose. So I love that. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that. And
Of course.
it sounds like because of your experience and all of these years that you've been not only ministering through dance, but also partnering with Zoe, like God has likely shown you a lot. Would you be able to share something that he's revealed to you about his heart for children and justice through your time with Zoe?
Yeah, I think my wife came back wrecked in a good way
Mm,
when she had visited Zoe. And so when she came home and she experienced the transformation of these children and their deep heart and hunger for God, after going through what they did before, prior to being able to stay with Zoe and being uh, able to experience what Zoe offers in their uh, restoration season. Um, she spoke about it, and she still speaks about it, and it's been several years since since the last time she was in Thailand. She remembers it like it was yesterday, but when she brings it up, she's always emotionally charged because of what God did and how God transformed their lives, and how these children have such a deep vision of what they want to do, um, because they felt that love and that care that came from Zoe, that brought them out of that darkness into God's light, as the scripture tells us. Um, and so, yeah, she's been deeply impacted by just witnessing um, how these children have just recovered so quickly, and we know it's the grace of God, the hand of God, that causes them to have that radical shift where they're suddenly feeling free and feeling alive and filled with purpose. And I would say many of the dancers described it equally to what I'm saying. It really changed the course of our ministry because we just wanted to do more, even for our community, even for our city. But anybody in desperate need, anybody that was in a situation where they felt helpless, and if we can be um, that hand that reaches out and brings them into a place of safety and comfort, we'll always choose that. So yeah, it has a really profound, deep, deep-seated impact in our lives. So it has, definitely.
thank you so much for just allowing us to hear how God has moved through you and your wife and how he's used your experience and encounters with Zoe to not only reveal his heart, but to also leave a lasting impact in the hearts of the kids we serve.
Yeah.
Um, for final thoughts, do you have any words of encouragement or things that you would like to share for those who maybe are just unsure if their gift really matters, and just something you'd want to say to them?
Yeah, many of us can count ourselves out. We could think our gift is on a low scale, um, if it's not surrounded by, a big production or validated by, some kind of standard. Um, but sometimes the quiet gifts, sometimes the gifts that are unseen and less applauded for are the gifts that God utilizes massively. Um, and it's usually it begins in the heart. You allow God to move in your heart in a level of compassion for those in need of rescue. um, once that's activated, once you know that God has a hand in that, he'll cause you to discover gifts that you didn't even know you had. You'll begin to be creative in a different way. It might not be in the skill of dance or um, any type of entertainment quality, but it could be something that you do naturally, something that you're doing today, and you can transfer that into an opportunity to bring attention to it. And now you're speaking about a subject such as Zoe because you just decided to step out and not just kind of disqualify yourself and stay on the sideline and think like someone else will cover it. But I think everyone can get involved. Everyone can be a part of the solution. Um, God will use anyone who's just willing, who will just surrender and say, "Hey, I'm here, I'm available. However you can use me, He will." So uh, it's the best purpose of all is to know that you're in the heart and the will of God. Um, and so never put it on a scale and think if I'm not doing it at this level or I'm not doing it like them, whoever them are, uh, then yours is insignificant. But um, yeah, I just wanted to share that just because I think anybody can do a post, anybody can do um, phone calls, anybody can do a small gathering. It just takes like a step of courage to say I need to do something about this. And if you impacted one person, or if you were able to uh, raise a high level of awareness um, to the people around you, or raise up funds or anything, you are a part of the big picture in God's kingdom, and the greatest in the kingdom is the servant. So however you can serve Him, you already have that stature of greatness, and you don't have to wait for the world to say you're great. God's already shouting that once you decide I'll serve Him, regardless of how I see myself. I know that I just want to be available, and God will use that.
Well, amen. You better preach. That was so great. And you made such a beautiful point. And I thank you so much for your time today, Pastor Timmy, and just joining
Absolutely,
us.
yeah.
Thank you. And I look forward to all the things that God will continue to do through you and your wife. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your words with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Was an honor to be here and speak on behalf of Zoe and represent them. So we love our relationship with you guys, and we love the work you're doing. It's so inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
All right.
All right. And up next, we have Pastor Ryan Hinkle, who is a pastor at Anthem Church in Thousand Oaks. It is so great to have you, Ryan.
Hello, great to be here.
Hi. We're so glad you hopped on today. And for those who are watching, I would love if you could just share a bit about yourself and what you do at Anthem and what drives your heart for missions generosity.
Sure. Yeah, I am born and bred Thousand Oaks, California, born in town. And about 17, 18 years ago, one of my friends asked me, what do you think about starting another church here in town? And so I didn't know like what capacity that was going to look like, but it ended up being he and I and one other guy started Anthem Church together. We just celebrated 16-year anniversary,
Wow.
which is exciting. We can officially have a driver's license now. And it's been amazing. Like we've had generosity be kind of a cornerstone of who we are from the moment we started. We started very quickly with wanting to celebrate our church birthday by giving a bunch of money away every year. And so we get connected to Zoe really quickly. And it's been an awesome relationship with them / you guys. but yeah, I'm married, have my wife is Trisha. We have a 13-year-old boy, 10-year-old boy. Just living the life that God has given us here in town.
I love that. It sounds like you've been able to just really get plugged in, and it's so great that you listen to the Lord and helping build Anthem. And you mentioned that one of the cornerstones of your church is generosity.
Yeah.
How has that worked when it comes to partnering with Zoe? You've partnered with us for many years. So I
Yeah.
was wondering if you could share a bit of an experience about just your time with us and how that's impacted you in the cause.
Sure. Yeah. So when we were, I'm going to go back to the origin story of Anthem for a second. So when we were talking about starting the church, Matt, who's the lead pastor, took his family to do a year of training in the Chicagoland area at a church called Community Christian Church that was sort of the host for a thing called the New Thing Network, which did church planting and all kinds of stuff. And they basically told us, take everything you want. We're happy to rub off as much DNA as possible onto all the different churches that we helped start. And so one of the amazing things that they did was on their church birthday every year, they did something called Celebrate Generosity, which we 100% stole from them. And essentially what we do is we take a month every year, a month or so, and just kind of re-teach through what does the Bible say about money? What does it say about how we are supposed to relate to it? How does that translate into living a generous lifestyle with money, but just time and everything else that we have to give? And so the neat thing is that we actually take that offering that week, and we give 100% of it away to other organizations. So this year was our 16th year of doing that. We had 8 different organizations that we split the money between the last several years. It's ended up being about 8 to 9 times as much money as would normally come in on any given week. So we've been able to give to over almost $2.5 million away over the last 16 years, which for what feels like a small church like us, it is so cool to be able to look back and see all of the money invested and lives that have been changed through that. And so Zoe actually got on our radar through one of the guys who was one of our core members for the first 10 years of the church. He and his family own a business in the Los Angeles area and were extremely connected to Zoe, our lead pastor, and their family went out and visited everything going on in Thailand. And then through the relationship with them, we were able to be really helpful with getting the home in Los Angeles started and getting the funding going through that. And I don't know, just been kind of all over the place in the Zoe story, I hope.
Yes, definitely. I mean, obviously, we are so thankful that you give to Zoe, but the fact that as a church, you are so focused on generosity and coming together to just really be the hands and feet of Jesus, it speaks volumes. And we're so thankful for that generosity, for the ways that you've contributed to helping us, especially with the help that you were able to support in building the home.
Yeah.
As we've been able to really spend time pouring into girls and survivors by having that home here in LA. So truly, we are really appreciative of that. And, I'm just curious for you, is there a specific moment when the issue of child trafficking became personal to you or the church community?
Yeah. I think so much of that goes back to Mike and Carol's story. I haven't been over to Thailand myself. I haven't been to the other locations, but getting to know them and hearing about the radical work that God did in their life, transitioning them from the life that they were living, feeling this call to do this, having such a heart for the kids. They just do it in exactly the way that we would hope that people would do something like this. Their hearts are so humble, but they still have so much hope, and they really see that God is the cornerstone for any change that's really going to happen in the lives of the kids in Thailand and LA and everywhere in between. Yeah, I think when LA started, it was really eye-opening to hear all of the stats and stories. And as we got to know Vicky also really well, she was very integral to starting things in LA. Just taking things from like the stats, the big picture stuff, and actually turning it into real stories that they know of individual girls who had this thing happen, this is what led them to where they were, all that kind of stuff. I know that stats are helpful, but when you actually break it down into the individual stories and you get to see the person-to-person side of it all, that just like really made it a captivating thing for us. And so, like I mentioned, we are extremely joyful to be able to contribute the way that we have and plan to continue in the future. One of the things that I get the joy of doing, two things. One, I tell people that my favorite day of the year every year is when I get to write our Celebrate Generosity checks. And it's just fun. The money is not from me. It's from everybody who's a part of our church. And it's fun. There's very, very seldomly somebody who gives like a big giant check or anything like that. It's a lot of smaller checks, which is really cool to see. Kind of everybody has bought into this vision. And so I get the privilege of being the one to actually sign the checks and send them out. So that's really fun. Get to pray over those before we send them. And then the other thing I get the privilege of doing is being one of the people who gets to share about the long story that we have with the different groups that we've been with for a long time, Zoe being one of them. And I think there's a lot of times where, whether it's a business relationship, a nonprofit relationship, whatever, where you could see there being a chance for somebody to say, yeah, we really love the mission that they're on, but the more that I've gotten to know the guy who leads it, it's like, I don't know. But the story that we have with Zoe and all of the other people that we've given to for Celebrate Generosity is just not that at all. The more that we get to know the team, Mike and Carol, now, all these different people, we just like couldn't be any more thrilled to send the money. We know that it's extremely well spent. We know that you guys use it really well, that the heart is there and everything. And it's great to have a partner that we don't have to feel reservation about in that way.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And I really love the point you made about when you're able to write out the checks and how seldom is it one large check that's given, but an accumulation of donations that your congregation has provided.
Yeah.
I really love that because to me, it really represents how we come together as people, as believers, and that when we are willing to give what we can, it really does make a big impact. And that it doesn't have to all be on one person to do it, but really the collective is where you can see the real power. And
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up because it is very beautiful. And, I even think about how you partner with us and different people, how all of it's really working towards bringing God glory, to really making an impact in the lives of people who need it, to stepping up as a church. And I'd love if you could share a bit about, as you reflect on Anthem's journey with Zoe and just in general over the years, what has God shown you about the role the church can play in bringing hope, justice, and restoration specifically to vulnerable children?
Sure. It's a great question. I think one of the big things that we make sure to lay as a foundation every time we do one of the generosity teaching series is that the reason that we are supposed to be generous is because God has been generous with us. Not only did he give us salvation, he gave us his son. He also gave us everything that we have, every gift that we have, every talent that we have, everything comes from him. And so he's not expecting anything from us that he hasn't done first. And so, like you mentioned, like every bit of the why we do what we do is because of God. Another thing that we often remind people is that the church is is God's plan for bringing the gospel to the world. It's not any other human power. It's not just one person individually. I mean, we all are individually the church, but collectively, there is something like really powerful about a group of people at a local church to really enact real change for the kingdom of God. And so the work that Zoe is doing is just like so obviously bringing restoration and renewal to the world. We have a high view of people, that we all are made in the image of God, that he values us incredibly high, no matter who we are in the world. And so if we get to be a part of actually seeing real restoration happening in some of the yuckiest, most broken, ugly situations that somebody could ever be put through, we would absolutely love to be a part of that.
It's a wonderful answer, and I appreciate the heart that you all have at Anthem and just truly wanting to make a lasting impact in the lives of everyone and represent Jesus well. So I really appreciate that. And I'm curious, with all of your experience with generosity, not just with us, but across the board, I'd imagine that maybe you've come across people who might sometimes get apprehensive about their giving.
Sure.
For anyone watching today who might wonder, like, does my gift even matter? Would this even make an impact? Do you have any like thoughts or words of encouragement to give them?
Sure. Yeah. I think the first thing that we want to start with, like I mentioned earlier, is having a moment of self-reflection. Has God been generous with me? Is he asking me to do the same thing? So even just before you even get to, is Zoe the right place to receive any of that? Just even asking God, praying about it and asking, like, are you asking me to live a generous lifestyle? My guess, he's probably going to say yes. And so, then becomes the question of asking him, okay, great, you've entrusted these dollars, these hours, to me. And so where would you like me to actually invest into? And for some people, the cause of Zoe is an amazing one. For other people, it might be something different. And I think that that's something that we all recognize, is that different people, God has given different passions and different wirings to, and all of that kind of stuff. I know that when we do celebrate generosity, like I mentioned, this year we had 8 different recipients. Zoe is like such an easy story for us to share in general, because people love kids. People love helping and rescuing kids. And so it is extremely, people love it. Yeah, I'll just put it that way. People love being a part of helping kids. And so, yeah, what would I encourage somebody with? I think the next step, I think, is just starting to build relationships. I think it's one thing to send a check. It's another thing if you live in the Los Angeles area or any of the other places that Zoe is doing great works. There's usually opportunities to get to know some of the people who are leading, to be invested more than just through the dollars that we can send. And that's been a really amazing thing for us also.
Yeah, that's such a great point, that it's giving not just their dollars, but through whatever somebody's able to give, what they feel led to give. That could be their time, that could be prayer, that could be dollars. It really, I think it's about the heart posture, like you said.
Yeah.
Really reflecting and making sure you're coming from a place of knowing that your generosity is coming from a true heart and what you feel like the Lord will want you to do. So I thank you for that. I think that's a really great point to make, and I value your time today.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
thank you for giving me a chance to chat a little bit. It's great to get to know you, and
Yeah,
yeah, love continuing the journey that we have going with Zoe.
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for your time, for all that you do at Anthem, and for just everything. We appreciate you.
It was good to chat. Talk to
Good
you later.
chatting. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for spending your lunch hour with us today and for standing with us in the mission to reach every person and rescue every child. As a quick reminder, from now through December 31st, every gift you give is doubled through our $250,000 matching campaign. That means your generosity continues to go twice as far to prevent trafficking, rescue children, and bring restoration and healing. If you'd like to give today, you can head to gozoe.org and click the button on our homepage that says Donate 2 times Impact. Any contribution, big or small, truly goes a long way. We are so thankful for your partnership and for the lives being changed because of you. And if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out Zoe's 2024 Impact Report to see the incredible difference your support is making. Your generosity truly fuels the mission. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time.